What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Dark Crisis, the Dark Army, issue number 1, Damian Wayne versus the Darkness. Okay, so Damian takes the forefront in this issue, this very, very inconsistent issue. There's 3 different writers on this thing, as you can see. We have Mark Waid, pages 1 through 6, and then 37 through 40. Delilah S. Dawson, 7 through 21. Dennis Culver, pages 22 through 36. And then art by Freddie E. Williams, 1 through 6, 22. You see that where the problem comes in. Jack Herbert, 7 through 21. It's so inconsistent. And you can tell this is written and drawn by 3 separate people. And it's just inconsistency, the issue. This issue even starts out as like, I stand 5'4" and weigh 140 pounds. Look at Damian in this first page. And then once we switch to the different artists, it looks like he got like some super soldier steroid injections and he aged like 15 years. It's so inconsistent. And another thing that's really annoying and inconsistent is this story in general. So first couple pages are written by Mark Waid, and Damian talks to John. There's kind of a wholesome moment right there where Damian has to go, okay, I got to get some army to go, some people to go take out the Dark Army, and we got to change this battle because we're in a losing situation. So he has to quickly recruit a few people. Doesn't necessarily get all the people he wants. He gets Power Girl, Dr. Light, who's the most useful, Sideways, and then there's Red Canary. That's right, Red Canary, the character who they've hyped up for all this time, who has said and done absolutely nothing in this entire series so far. She even gets her own variant covers for a couple issues of Dark Crisis, and what has she done? Nothing. She stood in the background, said nothing. Her first words are finally, oof. That's the first introduction we get to her, is oof. So Damian saves her. Okay, this is the Mark Waid page, mind you. Okay, he's concerned. He saved somebody, and then they switch to the different art style. And look at him. Why does he look completely different and jacked and all that other stuff? Look at how much he aged. How is this the same thing? Look at it. I'm 5'4", 140 pounds. That is not 5'4", 140 pounds. He looks like he aged up significantly. Does nobody in this company, when they're writing these like big event things, compare script notes and explain things to each other? Hey, let's make it consistent with the art style. Is there no communication? Because it certainly feels that way, and especially with the way the characters are written. So yes, she has kind of a clumsy entrance. Damian's an insufferable dick in this thing, and I blame this on the second writer too, because Mark Waid writes the beginning and end where he's not written to be such a jerk. It's the next creative teams like Delilah S. Dawson and Dennis Culver. Damian in this thing, did nobody read Robin? That's what I want to ask. Did nobody read Robin? He is insufferable in this issue the way he's written. Like, he is written to be such a jerk to literally everybody around him. Did nobody acknowledge that Robin exists? That book was meant to have him overcome this stuff and be more mature, be better with people around him. But here, it's gone. We're back to old asshole Damian. And look, there's a certain charm to that, but at this point, I've had enough. I have had enough. He's supposed to have matured past this. That's what that entire solo book was all about. And now we're back to just him being an insufferable dick. Mark Waid, you're on this book too. Can't you just tell him, like, hey, look, for consistency purposes, he's supposed to be past this. I get some people come in, they want to write him like this, but be consistent with your overall narrative. It's not. It completely ignores that fact. It's like these people didn't even read the solo book leading up to it. Nobody reads anything at DC, as I've come to realize. Dark Crisis is a very inconsistent mess of a storyline. This is the part that really got to me a lot. It's just how much of a dick they wrote him to be. And like I said, this is supposed to be set after Robin, and he's just written to be so insufferable, and he's just an asshole to literally everyone around him. They do explain maybe it's just because he's scared, but it's just really, really annoying at this point. So, God, does nobody read the comics they're supposed to write for? If you're continuing off a previous run, you should read that run so you can understand what position the character is at. They're supposed to be past this, but yeah, like I said, that's really annoying. So finally, Red Canary is the thing. We find out she's college age, so I've heard rumblings that she's going to join a Teen Titans book, but I mean, if she's in college, why would she join a teen book? But anyways, so there's that. Damian's just a jerk to everyone in this entire issue. He's just grumpy and just angry. and no maturity. He leads this mission. The only one who's really useful in this thing is Dr. Light, because they come to this like cosmic tuning fork on some ape world or whatnot. They fight some different monster things or shadow creatures and such. Dr. Light is the only one who seems to be effective in anything. Red Canary is very inexperienced. We come to find out she only has been a hero for like 10 minutes and has done a little bit of basic martial arts training, but that's about it, all things considered. So they go here, and eventually they find this, like the House of Heroes or whatnot. They turn on this AI machine, really not sure what to do, and basically it unleashes the Justice League Incarnate, which is very questionable, because wasn't the Justice League trapped in all these weird dream states? Didn't Pariah need all this energy to power his machines? And the Justice League Incarnate, I believe, was captured before the Justice League. So why didn't he use the Justice League Incarnate to power his dream machines instead of the Justice League, or just add them to the whole thing? It doesn't really make sense. What makes them so special? Why doesn't he need their energy to power his various machines? You know what? Dark Crisis does not make sense. It really doesn't make much sense at all. Eventually, Dr. Light comes in and kind of burns the darkness out of him with the light. That's the way I'm going to explain it all, because it's just... Dark Crisis is a very inconsistent event. And of course, like at this point, the art style changes once again. So we were going from that. Damian was like a jacked, like 30-year-old, and then he becomes a kid again. And it's just so inconsistent with the art. It does not feel, and you can tell this is written by like 3 different people, and 3 different artists have worked on this thing, because it does not feel consistent at all. And then eventually they free the Justice League Incarnate of their situation. Everyone's back into the fold. Dr. Multiverse talks about seeing different visions of people's future, and Damian's a very consistent thing. But that's really to set up Batman versus Robin, because as you know, Dark Crisis is set before Batman versus Robin. So yeah, that's the tease for Batman. But again, this came out with Batman and Robin already going on, because Batman and Robin's already out like issue 3 or 4 now. So I mean, it's not really a surprise at this point. We already know that's what's going to happen if you're not reading Batman versus Robin. But there you go. That's the issue in a nutshell. Then they're going off. It's going to be continued in Dark Crisis number 7, and then we have Warzone number 1, because we need more one-shots and tie-ins to this event, because it's already not crowded and convoluted enough. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm very mean to this particular issue. At least plot stuff actually happened this time around. More than the other one-shots and tie-ins. This actually felt like an important part of the plot, if that kind of makes sense. Like, stuff actually happened. They freed the Justice League Incarnate. So I was complaining for a while, like, where the hell is the Justice League Incarnate? Finally, they're back. Why they didn't get put in their own dream machines is beyond me. Damian's writing is really frustrating in this, especially after having read and reviewed the entire Robin book, and this is supposed to be set after that run. Now, at least in Batman vs. Robin, he's under possession, but the rest of this thing, it's clearly written by somebody who must have not read that book, because then they would acknowledge, okay, this character has matured. Maybe I shouldn't write them to be an absolute insufferable prick to everybody around them. But no, this is DC Comics. It's so inconsistent. And I get the sense that this is kind of one of those mandated things, like, here, write a plot around this thing and try and make it make sense. You're like, and that's kind of where we ended up with this thing, because it just doesn't add up. This is a frustrating issue for me. Like I said before, I think it's mostly having to do with the way they wrote Damian in this thing. At least in Batman vs. Robin, as I said, it was possession, so it's not like they ignored all that. And the Mark Waid pages, he's not written that way. It's the other 2 writers that write him to be as insufferable as possible. But Mark Waid is supposed to be writing the continuation after the Robin book. He should have said something, be like, or an editorial should have jumped in and be like, hey, look, this is very inconsistent with what we just did. But no, DC Comics editorial just seems to be really clueless when it comes to a lot of this stuff, because there's no consistency anywhere in this company, it feels like. So yeah, I'm in a little bit of a rage mode. I wanted to like Dark Crisis, the Dark Army, but seeing stuff like this just really kind of annoy me. At least Red Canary said something. She could be a fun character. There's some potential there. She's kind of a little bit awkward, very inexperienced. She plays off Damian's, I guess, assholeness well. Other characters, Sideways has a few moments. I haven't read anything with Sideways in a while, but he could be kind of fun. Power Girl, I'll be honest, she probably should have slapped Damian across the face with how he was acting in this thing. Dr. Light was pretty cool. She actually felt the most useful this entire book. And everything else, yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I didn't really like the way it was handled, and I just think inconsistency and forgetting character development and just going back to square one once again is just one of the most infuriating things I can imagine. So I just can't believe that nobody at editorial was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't right. Let's change this up. Hey, look, I get you wrote it kind of like this. Maybe do some tweaks and just fix it. But no, we can't have that at DC Comics, apparently. We can't have consistency. We can't have characters actually evolve and stay that way. So, but yeah. I'm annoyed. I thought this just really annoyed me with this thing, especially with 3 different creatives on it. Mark Waid should have just wrote the whole thing. But no, we need 3 different things, 3 different artists. And it just came across very inconsistent, and it feels off. And there's other books that are written by multiple people, but because they only worked on, like, okay, you do the first couple pages, I'll do like this large section, and then you do these couple pages at the end. That's where it feels off. It's not like it was co-written throughout the entire thing, such as DC versus Vampires, which is another book I'm going to be reviewing. But it's just one of those things that just really kind of gripes and annoys me, because you could do so much better and then just nothing. So yeah, I'm a little annoyed by this one. This one just frustrates me, mostly for the character regression and real inconsistencies with what's going on in DC Comics, and just some other plot elements that just felt off to me. But there was some potential with other things. I think Red Canary can have some potential. We'll have to wait and see what happens next. But I just didn't like the way things were written in this thing, especially kind of the main stuff with Damian. I think that really annoyed me, because I just spent over an entire year covering his solo book about him maturing. And even Joshua Williamson is like the head of this whole Dark Crisis thing. You'd think he'd be like, hey, did you guys not read my stuff? It just, that's just annoying. That's just a really frustrating thing. But anyways, those are my thoughts on it. I'll get to some more comic books reviewing later on today. But I just want to get Dark Crisis, the Dark Army out, because this was the one I was most interested in reading about, because Red Canary was finally going to do something, and Damian was the focal point. But apparently people didn't read Robin. That's my main takeaway of it. Oh, you didn't read Robin, did you? Then you would have acknowledged the character's growth. But of course not. That's just DC Comics, or editorial could have stepped in, but no, we just can't do that. But anyways, that's all I got to say. I've rambled long enough. Dark Crisis is still a consistent mess, and all this other stuff. But all right, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out. Subscribe, like this video, share this stuff. DC vs. Vampires review will come later on today. So bye-bye.